A lot of people don't know, but the area that I live in has had a big storm. And I want to make people aware. Last week I was talking about TikTok having the best news. There's a lot of satire crap and there's a lot of stuff you have to decide upon yourself what to take for real or not, but there's a ton of really great and accurate news, and the reason for that is because there is somebody there with a phone videoing or taking pictures in real time, and the news broadcasters haven't got time to filter it or to ruin it or to whatever it is they do. But here's the thing, again, I wanted to give a shout out to all my friends here and especially the friends that are in these areas. If you've watched me very long, I like to fish and I love going to the Nolichucky River. For the people out of the country that watch, there was a storm that came up from Florida all the way north to me in Virginia. I live in Bristol, Virginia, the western side, and I'm right on the Tennessee line. So everybody around me has, felt the wrath of this storm. My mother yesterday was out of power, which is same as nothing compared to what everybody else has got. But again, kind of in a circle around me, they got all kinds of stuff, but me, I didn't get nothing. My power didn't even go out here at my home. But again, with everything that I've watched this morning on TikTok and last night, I'm deeply hurt and saddened. There's tons of people that has lost their homes, loved ones, towns, interstates. Everybody in the trucking world knows how important the interstate road is. It's insane, and I just, for my friends here that do live in those areas, I want you to know that, my prayers and thoughts are with you, and I'd like for all my other friends on here to do the same for them. But here's another thing that I want to talk about that I just don't see people talking about, and I feel like this is knowledge that people should know, because there's not a lot of people out there that have a mechanic or have even been told in some way. But say, for instance, you're on your way home and there's a creek or a river going across the road. Okay, if it's a bridge and you see things hitting that bridge, you don't want to even try to attempt to go across the bridge. But I'm saying if it's enough water on the main land that you feel like you can cross it. Now again, who knows what height it is or whatever, but now here's the thing. If you feel like in your automobile, those of you that don't know me then do see this, I'm a mechanic, I've been a mechanic all my life. But when you go through this water, if you feel like you can make it and you're going to go through it, there's a lot of young punks out here, I was one myself, that say, I'll make it, I can make it. But here's the thing, if you are going to try to go across this to get home to your loved ones or whatever it be, you need to go as slow as possible. I've never heard this said, it's just a tip, but you need to go as slow as possible. The reason you need to go slow as possible is because when you go faster, obviously you create back pressure of the water and it's going to rise on your vehicle. Okay, when you go faster, the faster you go, the more the water's going to rise and come up and pretty much go into the intake of your engine of your vehicle. At that point, if that happens to you, you are a sitting duck because your vehicle will no longer run. You won't get to your loved ones, or you won't get to where you're going, and you won't get to safety. So therefore, go as slow as you can. Again, I've not seen this said or whatever, but I feel like a lot of people need to know this. Send this to your wives. A lot of people just don't know or don't get it. You've got to go as slow as possible. That way the water don't rise and go into the intakes. And even then, again, I said, don't even attempt it, really. Honestly, try to stay away from it, because you never know where that point is or how deep you can go on your car before it does flood out with water and everything else. But now again, at this point, it's kind of, you got to use your own judgment and be smart about it. But like I said, if you see a bridge and there's stuff banging against it and you can see it, don't try to go across it. Do not go try to go across it. If you have to go through water, go extremely, extremely slow. Okay, this is another thing, you know. I'm telling you as if I was going to tell my son, and I hope, Chandler, that you watch this. But say, for instance, you're a strong swimmer. I mean, me and my son were strong swimmers, and I would always think, you know, if I got in there, I would just try to swim gradually till I could make it to the edge and get out. Again, first things first, you don't even want to be in there. But here's the thing, here's the problem with trying to swim like that in these situations. Is that water is so muddy, anything 2 inches under that water, you're not going to be able to see it. You know, when you go fishing and you go to wading, sometimes you'll get stuck in fishing string or something. You get it hung on your foot if you're wading in the water. Well, think about this. This water is washing off people's entire properties. There could be cables, ropes, anything underneath that water to hook your leg or your arm, or when you're trying to paddle, you could hit something extremely sharp and you just don't even know. And if you think you're going to swim to the edge, say for instance there's a tree under there. You know how a forked limb could be. What if you got your arm or ankle stuck in that and it pulled you into one of those bridges that's getting ready to be washed off? Heaven forbid that to happen to anyone. But again, try to avoid this entire situation. Again, I'm telling this as if I was telling my son. You know, sometimes we think we can do it or we'll take a chance, but a lot of these things you shouldn't. You know, you'll be smarter to just go. And another thing people don't realize about this is it will get really bad really fast. It's what happens with floods. It gets really bad really fast, okay? The next thing is, people's like, well, maybe it's the most it's going to do right now. No, it will get even worse before it even starts to get better. So lots of times there'll be a flash flood, and then there'll be even more, because then dams break away, mudslides, I mean all kinds of different things that can happen to make the water even worse. So I've seen a video here of a guy in a truck, and he's in a big truck and sitting there in it, sitting in the water. You know, I wished he had got on top of his truck or done something differently instead of sitting there watching it. But maybe it came in a big wave and got him there. I don't know. But again, some of these things, I don't know. Like I say, I'm telling you because I would want to tell my son and the people that I love and care about, because no matter who you are, there is somebody somewhere that cares for you. And you need to try to stay safe. So again, my prayers and condolences goes out with the people in my area that has been devastated by this. You know, I wish the rest of my friends would do the same. Just keep them in your thoughts and prayers. And again, go slow. Just go slow. You become more apt to making it. I ain't gonna say you're gonna make it. If you feel like you have to, you know, go extremely slow. You know, I haven't heard anybody say that. And this tip could possibly save a life in some way, instead of people trying to go and hit it hard thinking, well, maybe the harder I hit it, the further I make it, and the better off I'll be. No, that's not how it is. And I'm going to be honest with you. I can tell you from experience, in my early days, I did the same exact thing and ended up stranded in the middle of a river with me and my buddy in the middle of a river back where I grew up. So that's why I'm telling this. So again, prayers and condolences to them, and I hope everybody has a great day. You know, not everybody can just come out to the garage and piddle and mow today. You know, like I said, my heart goes out to those people. Have a good day.